What's going on, everybody? Sausage here. What happens when you give goblins dice and absolutely zero supervision? This is Dice Goblins Clicker, an idle game about chaos, probability, and watching numbers spiral out of control. It starts simple, it doesn't stay simple. Let's talk about that. So, the gameplay. It's an idle clicker where goblins roll dice. As you make money, you can purchase upgrades such as crit chance, goblin speed, dice rolling speed, gold value multiplier, etc. Not to mention there are different types of dice and goblins you can purchase. At first, you start off with a single D4, but shortly after you can purchase your first goblin, and a second, a third, and fourth, and then eventually you're purchasing bomb goblins and car goblins, and as for the dice, you can purchase D6s, D8s, 10s, 12s, and even 20s. Eventually, you'll start to stagnate, and when I first started playing, I thought, this is it? This is the entire game? Gameplay slows to a crawl, and I just grind until I 100% complete the game? Well, in the top left corner, there is a bar that would continuously fill up, and I thought that was actually providing a power-up I would see occasionally on the screen. This power-up being a can, and if you click the can, everything doubles for about 5 seconds. Double speed, double money, double everything, I assume. And well, this bar is actually your level, which I figured as much, but what I didn't know is that if you click on the bar, it opens a menu, and this menu showed me that you can prestige, so the whole can idea was wrong. Don't listen to that part. The way you do this, I mean prestiging, is that you level up and you earn points that you can then choose to place into upgrades, and the first few being higher minimum dice rolls, starting with money each run, more money earned per click, etc. But not only that, there are also different maps too. The first map being a forest with no modifiers. What I mean is no buffs and no handicaps, it's just a standard map. But the third map is what I actually unlocked first, which took place in a sewer, and the modifier being that the dice roll faster, but the goblins slip and fall a lot more. At first, my experience felt as if the game was going to be not necessarily short, but simple and lacking any sort of depth, but I was pleasantly surprised. Moving on to the graphics and art, the first thing that immediately grabbed my attention was the 16-bit graphic art style. Not only that, but the sheer number of assets and variety of assets on the screen was incredible. The levels look distinct and the goblins are cute and adorable, but the dice probably have to be my favorite part. Each die is easy to distinguish, be it D4s compared to 6s compared to 20s, and each die is a random color. What I mean is that the D6s are not just blue and the D10s are not just pink. Each die is a random color, which I really appreciated. And due to the sheer number of dice on the screen and the sheer number of goblins on the screen, everything becomes increasingly chaotic as progression advances, which is a lot of fun. Lastly, let's talk about the value or the time you'll get out of this game. Dice Goblins Clicker costs $6 on Steam. I got just under 9 hours of gameplay out of it while earning 23 of the 29 achievements. With all of that said, Dice Goblins Clicker earns a rating of 6.7 sausages out of 10. The gameplay is your typical incremental idle clicker, but after about 2 hours, I became bored. First and foremost, just because a game is a clicker doesn't mean I want to click all the time, especially with the amount of time I put into this game. That is really this game's biggest issue, is that I should want to click, but I shouldn't be forced to click, and that's basically what this game started to feel like. The graphics and art is easily my favorite part of the game. It's cute, it's funny, it's colorful, but there is room for improvement. I have 2 complaints that aren't game breaking, but it would make the game better if fixed. First, the cursor. It would be nice if the game changed the cursor into something like a brown glove. As much as I love all of the chaos going on, it is hard to see exactly where my mouse is, which in turn makes it hard to click on the can that provides the 2 times buff for 5 seconds. Not to mention, again, the clicking radius of the mouse is small, so that makes not being able to see the mouse even worse, because at that point, I feel like I'm just clicking aimlessly, and I have no idea what I'm actually clicking on, if anything at all. That leads me to complaint number 2, which is seeing the can. At the beginning of a run, it's easy to see the can because it has a glowing off-white color around it, and there isn't much else on the screen. But later in the game, though, when there are all the other dice and goblins, it is really easy to miss. It would be nice if there was an audio cue to let us know when there was a can on screen, or maybe the can and the glowing circle around it could slowly grow in size before it disappears. Back to the clicking radius topic for a moment. That's a gameplay thing, but maybe the devs could introduce a purchasable mechanic to where you can increase the size of the clicking radius to hit more dice. Because like I said with everything else, it's really hard to see. I know a bunch of dice all at once, easy to see, but one individual die when you're trying to find your mouse, it's a little difficult. It's just an idea. Lastly, the game starts off in window mode, but you can go into settings and change it to full screen. It's a pretty simple fix. I just wonder if that plays a role in the cursor issue. I just wanted to mention it. And then lastly, like the real lastly, not the other lastly, this is the last but not least, the value of the game. It costs $6 and I got just under 9 hours of gameplay out of it. Of those 9 hours, I'd say 4 to 5 of them were spent away from the computer, actually. Like I said, after the first 2 hours, I got bored, and then I started messing around on my phone. And then I got up and I went and did housework. And then I went for a walk, and then I came back and I played on my phone some more. And then I did some more housework, and then I took a phone call. And then finally, I sat back down in front of my computer. During that time, I was periodically checking on the game and purchasing upgrades, but at this rate, I would probably put in at least 12 hours into the game before I beat it, if not more. If I had to guess, I really don't know. It might be more than 12. I wanted to 100% complete the game, but with how slow the progression became, I just don't have any desire to play it anymore. I really want to like this game. Artistically, it looks great, but the gameplay really holds it back as well. Either I am missing something critical when it comes to playing this game, or the gameplay needs work. This game absolutely has a vision, and I see the vision, but it just didn't stick the landing, though I hope the developers can see this feedback and make some changes. And that's my review of Dice Goblins Clicker. If you got this far, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a little comment below, but if not, just know that I appreciate your viewership nonetheless. I also stream on Twitch occasionally. I have a Discord for both content creators and casual viewers alike, and I'm a Steam curator, so consider following me on all of those platforms as well. I'll leave a link to everything in the description below. Anyway, I think I'm going to cut my review here. Mahoney, out.